Hey everybody, welcome to another fun and exciting coffee talk with Asaf and Bill. This is the end of our series for this week. Hey, we've noticed that a couple of you have actually been coming on this whole week, and we really appreciate your attendance and listening to what we have to say. It's good to know that there's people out there that want to hear what we have to say. So today, what we'll finish off the conference with is if JFrog is good enough for the government, why not you? And we'll talk about basically just some things around, things that we've done over the past, say, 6 to 8 months to get us more of a standing of working with the U.S. government and federal requirements and things like that. But, really what it comes down to is that, Artifactory has been a solution in the marketplace for a long time. The rest of our platform has come and become part of that whole offering that we have now is the JFrog Platform. And we'll talk about what we had to do a little bit, and also too where you can find us, and also the reason why, because we are working with a lot of three-letter agencies, a lot of government agencies now, and we'll discuss that. So as usual, we'll kick off to the next slide. I'm Bill Manning. I am one of the solution architects here at JFrog. I've been with the company for almost 5 years now, and I am joined with the most amazing person I've been the privilege to work with over the past 2 to 3 months now. About two months. Asaf?
Yeah, 2 months. 2 months. Yeah. My name is Asaf Cohen. I'm leading the security solutions at JFrog. And I'm very happy to be here with you, and I look forward for this session. Bill, amazing to have this week with you, and look forward for many more.
I agree. I hope we can continue this series and maybe even start bringing other people in to join us in the discussion. And I think that'll be the next phase of this. I think we should bring in some people, interview them, and get some other perspectives from just you and I. So let's kick off the discussion. And, the first thing I want to talk about is, JFrog, we've been doing a lot and working with government regulations and agencies over this past, like I said, the past 6 to 8 months to get our solution shored up and qualified so that we can be included in as a solution that the U.S. government can offer. So they, any of these agencies that we're working with, they have the ability now to not have to go through the larger scale diligence that they used to do. So this meant that to meet the requirements that we had to do to actually get in and work with, like the Department of Defense, work with people like the, like we're doing some work with the Fed. Also, is that we had to go in and address any issues that we had. We had to go in and make sure that we followed all the guidelines to make us FedRAMP certified, to make us qualified to be in things like Platform One and Iron Bank, which I'll talk about soon. But this is a huge deal for us because the thing is that by doing this, we're offering a huge level of protection to our customers who use our product. Because now that we have those qualifications in place, we are actually, we've been qualified. So that means that if you are in an agency that's highly regulated or an industry that needs that level of protection, we can give it to you now. And we've actually had this all along, but there were just some minor things we had to do. We were actually very fortunate that some companies it takes much longer to do, we were actually pretty much expedited through the process. And when we did this, we are actually super excited, of course, and we blasted it to the world, over Twitter, the fact that we actually had the opportunity to go ahead and get approved. And this really meant that, our, customers out there that had any sort of doubt on whether or not they could deploy us as part of the solution, they were trying to do in these agencies, well, it was a way to just say, hey, we're qualified. We've taken out the hard part of you having to make the decision on whether or not we're compliant with your needs, and then give you the ability just to use us, just to be able to go in and deploy. Now, in the U.S. government has some very strict regulations. Asaf and I this week have been talking about things like software supply chain, and how do you go ahead and secure the things that you're doing as a development organization. And a lot of the fruits of our labor in dealing with this also came over and is being also now, like I said, offered to our customer base. So you can also go in and have that highly regulated nature addressed by using the JFrog platform. In the U.S., it's much different than it is in Israel, and in Israel too, because that's where one of our major locations, and the SOF is more akin to the way things are over there, is the fact that by doing this. And having this qualifications and all this information really means that things like software bill of materials, like we've been talking about, is something that is going to be available to all of our customer base, right? So in the Q4 timeframe, you're going to have the ability to go ahead and export this data and as SPDX. SPDX was just chosen as the format in the United States as the qualified software bill of materials. So you'll be able to take the builds that you produce and easily and adeptly take that information and supply it to your customer base if required. On top of that, with our Xray product, and now with Asaf came from the Vdoo side of the house when we did the Vdoo acquisition, their inherent knowledge about security also is heavily influencing the product to go forward even more to make our Xray product, in conjunction with Artifactory, a real powerhouse for stability and security. Asaf, do you want to say anything about some of the things that will be, some of the things that from the Vdoo side that actually will be beneficial to our customer base and any customers that are dealing with sort of regulated fields, like some of the things that we'll be integrating from the Vdoo product line? We've already started with some of it with the research data, which is absolutely one of the most amazing things that I am so happy to see in the product. But what other things can we also come to expect going forward?
So essentially, the Vdoo company came up with a product that looked holistically at the security of a binary, of an application, and examined the different pillars, I would say, that comprise this software. So I would say, from 10,000 feet, if I would look at the application, essentially the application is comprised from the third-party components, which are the open source software components, or the commercial one. You have the first-party code, which is the code that you developed in-house, and you have the whole configuration or the framework that you use, such as maybe the container-based OS or the Apache framework or all of those frameworks. So essentially, the Vdoo solution runs security testing and evaluation for the third-party components by identifying their open source software components with their CVEs, for the first-party components by having a unique approach to find exploitable zero days, as well as what we call exposures, which are essentially configuration best practices, which are scanners that will technically check whether the best practices are being applied or not. And by having those results all across the different pillars of the product, we also have an advanced prioritization engine that knows to calculate within the context of the binary whether this is I would say, more important or less important item. And as part of the Vdoo, by the way, we support SPDX Cyclone DX, for instance. So as all part of this acquisition and merger into the JFrog platform, we are in the process of having those features implemented and migrated to the Xray platform. It's going to take several quarters, of course. I wish there was like a magic wand that I was able to do this and everything was just immediately going to jump to the next product. So as you can expect, it might take some few quarters, but we are heavily working on this and going to set this up as quickly as possible. So stay tuned when it comes to the enhancement and improvements in Xray.
I think we're all looking forward to that too. And like I said, I really do wish we had the magic wand that would allow us to actually get these features in immediately. They're super exciting because right now Xray was starting to come into its own in terms of being trying to be a player in the market, but more than it has been. Now with the Vdoo acquisition and all those Vdoo features, I think we're going to become a prominent force. And this actually is also one of the things that a lot of the government regulators have been looking for, right, when they start working on this. So these are all things and all enhancements that will actually make the experience that much better and provide that level of user with all the tools that they need to do what they need to do. And because of that, talking about what we're doing is that, if nobody's familiar with what these two items are on the screen that I'm showing are, Platform 1 was designed by the U.S. Air Force in conjunction with the Department of Defense, and the idea behind this is a way for the government to go in, qualify softwares that can be used within the agencies, and they go through a very regimented process. And one of the areas of this, an extension of Platform 1, is Iron Bank. Now, Iron Bank is the secure registry for software products, and we were actually qualified as part of this. So if you're actually part of a government agency and you're using something like AWS with Government Cloud, we'll talk about that in a second, but also Azure Government Cloud, is the fact that you can now go in and deploy the JFrog platform in any agency you want. So this means that when you're utilizing our solution, you're using a solution that has been heavily qualified for this level of use, where data protection, intrusion protection, these are things that are very important to the government in terms of maintaining, cybersecurity and having a very huge footprint of having, trying to be the forefront of security and also the level of development increasing in velocity without having to compromise. And saying that, when you are utilizing our platform and you are doing this, you're getting something that is actually, you can utilize right now. This is not something future-proof. This is something you can utilize right now. And it's a way for you to talk to your administration, a way to talk to the security people in your company and be like, hey, by the way, we're looking at JFrog as a platform, and just so you know, it's been qualified for Platform 1, and it's also available in Iron Bank, which means that they went through the stringent processes. And as part of this, there was another added byproduct to this is that also we were able to go in, and now we're official offering in the stores that you can find inside of AWS GovCloud and also Microsoft Azure Government. So this means that we're also qualified to run there, thus completing the circle of what it means to be able to work inside the U.S. government and have a tool set that is available that can be utilized across the board. So if you're looking for that same level of protection, if you're looking for that same level of security, if you're looking for that binary management with the SBOM solution, if you're looking for a way for you to go in and modernize your organization, increase the velocity, reduce your footprint in terms of security vulnerability and things like that, this is the way to go. And it makes it easier to have that discussion with your internal procurement teams to say this is a qualified solution. And that's the reason why. If it's good enough for the U.S. government, if it's good enough for your government agencies, it should be good enough for you. And this is just a series of talking points that if you are having those conversations, this is the stuff you need to bring up, because by having us qualified and you being able to say we're qualified, well, should ease the use of us, being able to bring in Artifactory and the JFrog platform in totality. So that's pretty much all I had to say about that. Asaf, do you have anything else you want to say?
Not for mine. Just want to thank everyone again for your precious time and being with us for the whole week. It's been very exciting. We had a lot of fun having these sessions with you. And Bill, thank you very much for running this with me. And I think that for me personally, it's been a pleasure to work with you.
Thank you, sir. And I concur. It has been absolute wonderful. And behind the scenes, we have to thank Courtney here. Courtney, you've been a dream to work with on this, and thank you so much for helping us out here and being our producer. Thank you, everybody, once again for attending. And thank you, everybody, for attending. We're all so happy to have you here. Please stay tuned for the next set of talks we'll be doing. I'm not sure about when it's going to happen, but I'm sure Asaf and I and some other people will come up with some good ideas. But I think we're going to expand this format. And thank you, guys. Be safe, be wonderful, be well, and have a great weekend, everyone.